Okay, we're about ready to get started. I'm just going to play the intro so I can share out. Then I'll pull Vera up. What's going on, everybody? We're going to pull Vera up here in just 1 second. We're broadcasting from Solterra Healing Center in Palm Harbor. We're going to be doing a broadcast here, more than one, but we're going to be doing one tomorrow night, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern. It is a cosmic improv, which I have no idea what that is, but improv sounds pretty good to me. A lot of stuff's going on. I'm having a rough morning and early afternoon. So that sounds about right. Usually when Vera and I get together, there's a lot happening. So let's see what she's got to say. We're going to get her up here. Let me just get her video on. There we go. Hang on, let me unmute you. Okay, what's happening?
Hello.
Uh-oh. I can't hear you.
You can't hear me.
What?
Can you hear me now? Hello, hello?
Hang on.
Maybe.
I'm doing this to be quiet. Otherwise, I'd take this off. Okay, now.
How is it now? Can you hear me?
Give me one.
It's him. Don't touch anything.
I'm not touching anything.
Hang on a second. I got you. Just give me 1 second. All right. Okay, here we go. Now, how's that?
Better?
Yeah. Yes, that's much better. I don't have a great signal here. Try. Okay, so let me close everything up. Everything's closed up. It already is closed up. Fuck that. It's gonna work anyway. So, hey Vera, what's happening?
What's happening? So you're having a rough day again.
Don't worry, I'm not gonna go off on a tangent, but
No. It's somehow we always meet when something's happening. Like
I know. Why is that? Why is it like a prerequisite for us to get online together? If it's me and you and Augusti, or me, you, Morgan, and Augusti, then it's never a problem. But no, so I want to hear what you got to say. I thought Augusti, we had a conversation, the four of us privately, 2 or 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And so then after that, some things happened. And then Augusti sent a note and said, I think y'all should just go on because there's something about the feminine body. I totally agree with that. I understand it all. I've been going through it with Morgan, as we talked about. So I'm just want to fill you in on what's going on our end. And after we talked to you, we had our last night in this RV park, and we met some friends, and we had a nice dinner, and it was kind of cool because they were they were definitely, they're definitely from the Rainbow tribe. You know, not black sheep, but you know what I'm talking about. So it was nice to sit down with some other crazy people. It's a nice couple, very nice couple, Patrick McCormick and Rebecca Renee. And so then we went back to the place, and I crashed for a couple hours, and then she stayed up, and then she went to sleep, and I got up, and we had been given a 2 or 3 nights before, we'd been given some directions, which she wrote about, which basically said, are you ready to give up all lower vibrational 3D programming, behaviors, patterns, and all that stuff, which we've been doing for 2 or 3, we've been guided to do that for quite a while, maybe a month. But then what happened was they told us, and this would have been a couple nights ago, they said, all of your auric bodies, all 12 of your auric bodies have aligned. Now, the only thing left is the human body. So they didn't really speak specifics, but they spoke enough for me and for her both to understand. We knew what they were talking about. All physical addictions, and addictions can be many, many things. She wrote a post on this yesterday, a big long list, everything from sex to drugs, rock and roll, to shopping, to other types of things, relationships, I mean, so on and so on. And so that was the message. And then yesterday morning, so I took a nap, she stayed up, she went to bed, I got up. So I probably went to bed about 3. She got up at 4:30, and her higher self was just screaming at her, like, hey, you know what? If you guys don't want to do this, then what's the point? We'll just separate you guys, and you go do whatever you want to do, but it's not going to be like this trip you've been on. So we left. We didn't know where we were going to go. We drove around, and it was fucking chaotic. And I'm driving this 26-foot RV. All I want to do is stop. I can't breathe. I feel like somebody's, sitting on my chest. And so we ended up going to this park. And I had gotten up that morning too, saying we need to talk. We need to have a review because we haven't had one in a couple of days. And so she got up the same way. And so we sat down at this park bench in a park. And the first thing I saw, because we were going to talk, was this big hawk in a tree like 20 feet away, just looking at us. And I'm like, okay, well, that's my cue. I know this. I know we're okay. So we had a discussion. It was a no-brainer. Here's what we got to do. We were told, you can give up the sugar, give up whatever it is, a little bit at a time. You don't have to go cold turkey on everything, but these are much, addictions, if you look at the post you wrote yesterday, are much broader than the things people think of typically as addictions. Okay. So again, it's 3D distractional, distorted behavior patterns where we basically, numb ourselves or ignore the higher calling or the higher conversation or guidance, whatever you want to call it. So that's what happened. We immediately felt a huge lightness and then power. And so we ended up coming over to Solterra. Our friend Alasa, she offered for us to plug it in the parking lot. Very cool. It was only like, the crazy thing, it was only like 2 blocks from where we were staying. So we drove all over town and come back to the same place. And we both knew that had we been in alignment, we probably would have walked right over here and there would have been no chaos, right? So that's pretty much where it's at. And then this morning, I woke up at 6 and I was like full of energy, man. I was like, oh, okay, so this is the new earth, man. I'm cool. And I was being quiet. She was sleeping. And I sat down and I started doing some work on, Soulogy group. And all of a sudden, I just felt like, oh my God, I'm going to die, And I laid down and slept for about 3 hours. She got up and then I've been a little discombobulated since then. I really am. I mean, I'm like not okay. So the rest of the show, you can just do the talking. That's where we're at. And there's definitely, oh, one other thing I wanted to add. She did this post last night where she talked about this stuff, about the addictions, and she listed all these addictions and explained how, once all the bodies are aligned, that the last thing is the physical body, because the physical body is actually going through this transformation, which we've talked about before. I know my body's doing it, and I can always tell what's happening with it. But anyway, so she said to me last night, she wrote it, and she goes, "Oh, I put that up." I said, "Yeah, cool." She goes, "You think people will get it?" And I said, "Well, I know women will." And I don't even know why I said that. And so later on, I looked, and there was like 65, 70 engagements, and every single one of them was a woman except for me, right? You know what I mean? So this thing that Auguste alluded to about the feminine's physical body, or whatever that was, I don't totally understand it, but I know and frequency-wise, it's what's been happening, what I've been observing and being a part of with Morgan, and so, and we've seen a lot of other comments. I see Michael Abramson, she read a comment that he wrote last night on one of those posts talking about Honey going through a lot like what you talked about in our private call, and what Morgan did, and what I just outlined. So over to you. I am done.
Great. Just to let you know, I'm totally discombobulated too. So it's and I don't feel we're alone with that. There's been something coming in very strongly the last couple of hours, and I have no idea what it is, but it certainly is something happening in the brain for me.
Okay.
I woke up with a huge headache this morning already, and it just started.
Okay, then that's not just me. Okay, I don't mean to interrupt you, but yeah.
Another friend just texted us a couple of hours ago and said, "I don't know how to handle this headache anymore. What the fuck's going on?"
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
We're not the only ones.
Yeah. A bit. See, I thought it was when I first came up, got back up at 9. I thought it was just being active in the ethers, because that happens a lot. Yeah. But then as I got to walking around a little bit, I said, you know what? I got a freaking headache. It's killing me. Yeah. And I feel very disoriented. And I said to her, I wonder if some energy came in. Something came in while I was, like, because that's what it felt like. That's what it sounds like with you.
Yeah, something's opening up. And it's again, it's like when that happens now, the shifts are always huge. It's not just like baby steps anymore we're taking. So I don't know what it is yet. I just know physically it's hitting in for many now. So especially like you said, for the like we talked about in our private call, it's that specifically the feminine seems to be, again, which is natural when you look at energies, the feminine is always first. Doesn't mean it's only women, but the ones with more feminine energetic setup going through that. And it's definitely cleaning through the whole physical system. So it's like all these time capsules we have, like trapped emotions in the physical body that are really blowing up at the moment. And especially, like, I hear it a lot more from women than from men that it's happening. And I experience it myself a lot. And it's really this shift physically into the new frequencies completely. It's the, well, others say light body activation or Merkaba activation or whatever. But you can really experience it now firsthand, how this stuff is now just coming up to release. And funny enough, it's the feminine bodies first going through it, but it's more masculine energy that is released, like the unhealthy masculine patterns that are released. So I was really observing what was coming up for me when these releases happen, these emotional releases, and they have all to do with protection. So me trying to protect myself, my physical body trying to protect me, and the muscles really going into fight mode, going against. And another thing was this, and this is mainly the upper part. So the protection is more in the lower part, the pelvis part, the hips, the lower back, which is completely restructuring, and then this stuff just comes up. And the second part is the controlling, the trying to make things happen, the chaser syndrome. I need to have this. I need to get the man, get the money, get the job, get whatever.
Yeah.
I need. It's the old program of what we think is self-sustainable, to be self-sustainable. But it means that you're still looking outside to find that balance that you're not finding within.
Yeah.
And it fits here in the jaw and down through the neck.
Yeah.
And that's what's coming up a lot now. And it's really like, yeah, in German, we even have a saying, I don't know if it exists, but when you cling your teeth like crazy, you're trying to reach something. And it's really this feeling of I need to control this. I need to get my balance back. And that's releasing at the moment what I observe for what's in the field right now, not only from my own experience. So again, it's the feminine bodies, the feminine also energetic bodies that are releasing the unhealthy masculine patterns. And I'm pretty sure it's going to follow for you guys too.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how this is working. It's been crazy because, the jaw and throat thing. That's a lot of people are commenting on that. I can relate to that.
Glands are blowing up, like really inflamed glands, and lymphatic system is very it's just huge shifts going on, and it's really not comfortable. It's really not comfortable. It's painful, and all we can do is really relax into it, and let it be, and not intensifying this pattern of I have to control this. That just makes it worse. And it's like really observing the physical body now. What are these muscles doing? Where are they holding on? Where is it not natural? And when you really observe closely, you realize, wow, it's all tight.
Yeah.
And they don't want to relax into it. And you really have to show them. And one way, which is nice because I have Agusti as a partner, is these deep tissue massages to get the muscle to release and to let go. Because the muscle has been holding on for so long.
Yeah.
It's almost impossible to like find that point of where can I actually relax it.
Yeah. It all makes sense to me. It all makes total sense to me. I've been having this in the last week. I've been having, I don't even know if it's pain. It's more than an ache, and it's been in my joints. And I told her this like 2-3 days ago. I'm like, my elbows, my knees, my wrist, my knuckles, everything is like. And I can feel it. It's like my tendons and ligaments and joints, and so that resonates. The other thing I was going to say too is that she's got this incredible book that she picked up years ago, and it talks about the different bodies, chakras, different bodies and all that. So we looked it up. She looked it up yesterday. She goes, let's look at this. And what she found in this book was that there were 12 bodies, but the physical body wasn't one of them. So that would make it the 13th. Now, the reason I bring this up is because it correlates with some of the stuff that we've received together, which has been in regard to, for instance, we were told, say 10 days ago, you have now met in the flesh with 12 different couples carrying the divine union codes. Now you're going to be introduced to the 13th level, so it's not so much the literal, it's just the synchronicities of the numbers and the alignment. But this 12, 13 thing seems to be pretty significant, almost like the 13th is the new template. Like the 12 are the existing, and then the 13th is, here's what you got. Now, what are you guys going to go do with it, And then that thing with the muscle, with the massaging and stuff. And I know I've noticed this with Morgan, in parts, there's certain parts that are tighter. And I know that's true with me because I know I've had a lot of intel come in about my neck, and it's gotten extraordinarily better. My lower back, I had problems for years and years and years. It'll come back every now and then. That seemed to clear like about 2 weeks ago. So I don't know. I can feel it in the body, and it makes total sense to me that the body's got to do it now because the rest of it's done it. And, you know, to me, it's like the message we received, the, the, the fervor of the message was like, it's time to do this now, period. And if you don't want to do it, go on down the road. That's pretty much how we got it. And my impression was, and has been, that March is going to be really, which has been like the last couple of years, really start to take off. Like as we come out of winter, March just takes off, you know, spring comes. And I just figured, you know what, this is our last month to really get aligned, because the universe just ain't taking any bullshit anymore, you know, and this is the last leg of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all the body stuff is relating to what Morgan also wrote about the addictions, because it's the same thing. It's a codependency pattern where we try to balance something that is not balanced inside of us physically. We can be very balanced on an energetic level already, but we can be very imbalanced on a physical level. And that's like a permanent conflict. And the more now this new energy and frequency and information comes through, the less the physical body can still stay in that old pattern, and can still cope in the old way. And it is a rude awakening once more, because it goes a level much deeper when you go into the physical. And it's just much denser. You have to move a lot more energy. With it takes longer. But nevertheless, it's really the learning of embracing that, and learning to observe instead of to react and go into these addictive patterns or compensation patterns. And that's like with anything. I think Morgan, even she also said, and also spiritual gurus, teachers, and just looking at another, where's the method that I can, use to that? It's done. We're really in empowerment mode now. And empowerment means I can do this. And of course, there's nothing wrong with it, reaching out, exchange with people what's going on for you. But it's this finding your own way. Every journey is different. And we are learning to listen to our own body, not only the spiritual, not only the emotional, not only the mental, but really the physical body. What is this one telling us? Because the physical is the key for the inner reunion. And that's the self-sourcing. When we are in inner reunion, we are self-sourcing energetically, because we're fully tuned into source energy. It's the Holy Trinity that everyone's talking about. When you're fully balanced inside, also physically, it's like and I just had a moment of this. Agusti had a moment of this. You can't hold that yet, but it's like two cables with, like they're plugged into in your heart center, and it's like, wow, all of a sudden you're fully connected with everything, and you see everything from a completely different perspective, and it feels like I just have to do this, and this house is going to change, or this forest is going to disappear or appear, or whatever. You feel really this magical power that you have building up inside of you. But you can only use this power in the physical when you are anchored fully in the physical. And that's why we still have a huge split also in the spiritual collective, that everything is oneness on the spiritual level. But when it comes down to earth and really embodying this oneness, sharing, being together, everything is open source, everything is open resource. There is no possessions anymore. There is no mine and yours. And it's really this, one thing is feeling it, the other thing is embodying it and walking it. And we're really triggered on that level now. It's like the period of how do you say that, like the testing period is over, and now it's really, we're getting down to
it's live ammunition out there now.
And of course it's because in the physical we still had the feeling we have something to hold on to, and we don't. We don't, and it's stripped away now for everyone.
No, we actually don't. We don't. I think the closest thing that and it's still not even the same thing. The closest thing would be a partner that you have manifested, the opposite gender of your physical gender, and that's still not 100%. But that seems to be because, again, embodying it, that seems to be the base component of this Trinity externalized. Like our experience is external, you know. The other thing I noticed too, which I think you can relate to, so we're doing what we're doing, you guys are doing what you're doing. We just talked about this. So, you know, do we want to do a show? Well, we can't because we're not going to be, we don't know where we're going to be. And you're like, we don't know where we're going to be. And are we going to have, you know, and all that. So when we left yesterday, left the RV park, I had a empty moment. So Zoom had taken something out, somebody else had taken something out, and there was nothing left, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't usually check, but I did because of the circumstances. So when I said we need to make a list, she goes, well, what's on your list? And I said, well, like, you know, do we need to do this? Do we need to do that? And they were all these survival things, right? All these superficial things. It wasn't the real issue, which is what we're talking about. And so we did our thing yesterday, which is just a conversation, right? It's so funny because this embodying, so really the embodying part of it is the least interesting part of it all, right? I mean, it's like you want to be up in the ethers and you want to be seeing dragons or what, something miraculous to say, oh, you're really not just a human being. But it's these very human things where we just sit down and have a conversation. Everyone else knows what I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to get at is that, so we literally running on fumes, and we haven't been able to broadcast. I'm running a watch party and just running stuff, you know, 24 hours a day, but I don't put any comments in there or nothing. And so all I guess what I'm trying to say is that when we being any of us, when we listen to the body, when we move away from these 3D vibrations, be they addictions or whatever the hell you want to call them, something comes in, and that is called abundance. And you know what? I mean, in the present moment paradigm, which is what we're living in now. It's not about, oh, we got a big bunch of resources came in and we're good for, no, it ain't like that. It's just like another day. But what I'm trying to say is what happened was when we cleared that energy out, or when we went into alignment, or however you want to put it, and made the moves that we made to detach from these 3D things, abundance comes in, you know, and it's unquestionable, inarguable, and you know what I'm talking about. And so I think that's an incredible thing, because there's no way that anybody, in my opinion, there is no way that anybody is going to be able to save for retirement, put money away, schedule out a bunch of sessions for 2, 3, 4 months, and keep this 1 foot in and 1 foot out thing. The universe is not going to allow that. It's going to come in and chop your legs off until you're in this space that you know well, right?
Yeah, and of course it doesn't sound very attractive, you know, to, because you're basically losing everything, but it doesn't mean you lose everything, you lose all attachments. And some people are really stubborn, or like Agustin and I, we really needed this hard hit to end up with being on zero with everything.
Yeah.
And living on a day-to-day trust and seeing always something is opening up. Yeah. And if you need the money, it is available. If you need a place to stay, it is available. That doesn't mean it stays like this. And I know it's not going to be. We're not meant to move around forever, and we're not meant to be separate from each other forever, because this new earth is all about learning that we as the human species are a super organism that is actually working together, or co-creating together, playing. It's not even working anymore. It's really playing. It's sharing. It's everyone brings something. And it doesn't sound attractive at first, because it means you let go everything what the old world taught you about security. And the biggest, and we talked about that before, the biggest codependency patterns are actually attached to materialism. One thing is the relationship with someone who keeps you safe, or is, you know, caring for you and whatsoever. And we've worked through all of that in the past couple of years. But now what's showing up is the codependency with money, the codependency with things, the codependency with land, with houses, and of course it's all an illusion. It's not real. Just because humanity decided we're going to have contracts now and we're going to have, this is my land now, and a paper says this is my land now, doesn't make it any more real.
Mm-mm.
Because there simply is, in the universe, there is no possession, there is no attachment in the natural way. If you look into nature, it works in seasons. There is no attachment. The trees let their leaves go when it's time to let them go. They know and that they're going to have new leaves when it's time to have new leaves.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody or no species in nature saves forever. They might save for the winter,
Mm-hmm.
but then they know there is a next season where they're provided for again. And this is where our linear mindset of we need to have all these savings, and we need to have a big house, and we need to have all this is mine and now I'm safe, this is gonna crash pretty hard. And you can already see stuff building up now. I'm not so much into the old world and what it's going, but sometimes it's fun to just look at the news and see, okay, what are they doing there in that dimension? Let's see. And you can see now the coronavirus, what it's already doing, what a panic is already out there, and how it affects the financial markets already. And just imagine a company like Apple. Everyone, every retirement fund, every fund in general has Apple somehow in the portfolio. Well, Apple is producing everything in China. What's going to happen if they can't import iPhones anymore? and it's just the beginning of a tipping point where the old duality basically destructs itself.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do anything about that. I don't even, a lot of people are still into the conspiracy and all this stuff, which is all fine, but you don't have to do anything because it is programmed to self-destruct itself.
Yeah. And it's an external, it's another fix is what it is. It's just another fix, you said, watching the news. So I saw a couple of YouTube things where Donald Trump just had that State of the Union, and I don't have any interest in it at all. I see it all as a movie and an illusion. But I saw the part where at the end where Nancy Pelosi tore up his speech, and I actually looked at that 3 times, and I thought, wow, that says it all. This is not a political statement or observance. All I'm saying is that here you have this loud, masculine, energy, purporting this and saying that and all this and whatever. And I don't have any political, allegiances at all. I don't care. And then you have this feminine who's pissed off, Now, is that not a caricature of what the hell's going on energetically? And then she rips up the speech, and I thought, well, that's it, because it's just a fucking illusion anyway. It's not even real. So you got people getting upset because he didn't shake her hand. You got people upset because she tore up his speech. I mean, that's the whole addiction right there. That's it.
It's the whole codependency right there. It's what duality created all the time. And it's, for me, I shared that. I feel a huge pull into the US right now, which doesn't make any sense from the old perspective when you're still in this old paradigm. But I can just feel that the US, and I wrote about that 3 years ago already, that the US will be the first nation to crash and to awaken. Because in no other country, the duality is so strong. And the power games, the narcissism, the patriotism, the control mechanisms, there's so much going on in the US. The individualism, that the separation also is like this, my house, my yacht, my car, my whatever, and the consumerism, business, it's all in the US in its origins. And of course, when it hits there, it hits the whole world, because everything is connected. And it's just the feeling I have it since 3 years that this is the way it's going to go. And there's nothing to be afraid of. We can only be afraid of that when we are attached to the old world. When we try to save the old world, actually what we're trying to do is we're trying to save our comfort zone.
Yeah.
So as long as we're still like focused on saving the old world, actually what we don't want is we don't want to let go of this old comfort zone we had. It's much nicer to ascend with the whole comfort zone. It's just not the way this works. The way this works is we let go of everything, of all the attachments, of all the illusions of possessions, and I have more than someone else, or it's going to redistribute. And I can either do that voluntarily or it's going to be taken from me at some point. Of course, it depends where I am in the ascension waves and when it's going to hit. But I don't feel it's going to be so pretty in the old timeline. At the same time, we have that pull to come to the US. And I was like, wow, this is really fascinating. Actually, it's a place where you want to be running from as far as possible. But at the same time, it's no coincidence that the people who resonate with what we're doing with Fast Forward Movement, truly like building this new earth, new world, new paradigm, we call it Absolutia in this fun and playful way, without any attachments to the old, without any old ways, how we used to do things. But it's all new because it's all based on this unconditional sharing, and it's all about people. And that is the switch we have from that. Actually, the power has never been the money. The power has always been the people. The value creators have always been the people.
Yeah.
People have been so separated and isolated in their own beliefs of not being good enough that it was easier for them to make it about money than to make it about connection with other people. And that is where we're heading in now, realizing the only safety net we have is people who are connected in unconditional love.
Yeah.
Who are caring, not taking care. Taking care is the old way, but caring for each other, knowing you guys have a job. You're like somehow you're one of the way pavers, like the pioneers in the US, you know, like showing to the world what happens, showing to the world all the different journeys of people. And of course, for you guys, this has been the hardest part in many ways. Also for Augusti and me, it was really tough because there is no book that says how this all works. So this is what we can gift to those that are coming into this wave now. We can share, we can leave the breadcrumbs with what we have learned so far. That doesn't mean that we're further ahead. We just have a different job. And the moment we realize we all have jobs in that, and it's all interdependent, and that someone like you guys or someone like us, we are doing this not for us, we're doing it for everyone, so that everyone can profit from, then it's also clear that even those that do not see their purpose yet, they can either share and support, or they cannot. But it's this understanding of we're all in this together. And at some point it will make sense. And when we're connected in unconditional love and we share unconditionally, it's a completely different, it's so much easier. It's so much more fun. It's much more effortless. It's because we stop struggling on our own. But while we keep our own little comfort zone alive with our own little income and with our, of course, this is what we get. We struggle. And although we landed tough, like hard, and you guys landed hard, like it was not exactly a smooth ride always, but I wouldn't change it for the world because
I wouldn't either.
It freed me from everything I ever believed.
Yeah, no, and I saw your comment on your post about the US. I saw a comment you made about, they were like, come here, come there. Like, I think you said something like, I see a place that's like out in the country, and, you know, and I'm like, yes. So, you know, I see us. When I say us, you know, I just mean us as in everyone.
Yeah.
But you can also see the steps along the way, and I definitely see us hooking up with you guys, and the US thing makes total sense. I mean, you know, the higher you go, the more your ass shows, the harder you fall, however you want to put it. I mean, you can look at any civilization going back to the Roman Empire, even before the Roman Empire. I
Yeah.
mean, 250 years is an extremely long run for any country
Yeah.
without in some type of radical change. And look, the proof's there. You got people that are experiencing obviously etherical stuff and dimensional stuff, interdimensional stuff. But now you got a lot of people, you know, I mean, I was watching like pink rays come out of my fingers at the beach, you
Yeah.
know, and you know, I mean, there's people they got, you know, diamond or rainbow colored metal pieces in their skin showing up, or light body fragments, or whatever you want to call it. I mean, I think that that's a really big deal. What you said, and I think they're tied together. One, you said it's not about taking care of someone; it's about caring. That's a totally different thing, and I know you know what I'm talking about because we've been on the same journey. And you go places, and that codependent frequency is there, and nothing against anyone who's ever lent a hand to anybody, because I'm
Yeah.
guilty of it. We've all been guilty of it in our lives. But when you give or offer from a frequency of caring versus taking care of is I'm going to take care of you now.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
I've got three merits on the board here. It's 3-0. You owe me. That may not be a conscious thought, but it is that codependent frequency. And I think that that type of energy field is directly related to what comes into your field, you know,
yeah.
like what abundance you receive. And we got people that are healing themselves. That comment, or not the comment, the post by Jin Reynolds. You saw that one a couple of days
Yeah.
ago about the thyroids.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, what happened? You know, well, she cleared that shit and it's gone. That's what happens. Last night when we laid down to do our thing, after everything that happened yesterday, we laid down and then her higher self popped into her, because I don't even remember where I was at with it. And this is right when it started, and said, you might tell him to pull his up. I thought, well,
Yeah.
that's strange. I thought, okay, well, we're connected. We're, you know, I'm going to do it. So I pull it up, and he immediately tells me all that really, really gnarly, shadowy shit is in your dick and in your urinary tract. And I'm like, oh, that's why I've been having some of the discomfort I've been having, you know, but it's real. It's not bullshit. So when I clear these things, it will be just like Jin Reynolds. It's gone. It's like my
It,
lower back. It's gone.
it
My neck problem's gone.
Yeah, it's really these pockets, like I said, these time capsules of trapped emotions, and they release and then it's gone. But
Yeah.
of course, we can only release when we're not holding on to that pattern any longer. And it's the thing, we might be balanced energetically completely, we might understand everything, how everything works. But if the physical body is still running an old program,
Yeah.
our reality gets distorted by that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be a really interesting time now, observing how like the outside reality, the old timelines are actually breaking off store,
Yeah.
like they are actually yeah, destroying, falling apart because it's happening collectively inside of
Yeah.
people. So
That's right.
it's really and it's going to be interesting what happens. And
Yeah, that makes sense to me. To me, and I said this to her the other day. I said, you know, I see them as timelines. Like these programs, they're timelines. It's no different than the message we got. You know, you guys want to go align the body now. You want to walk away from you know, all these different types of addictions, whatever they may be, and that's a long, long, long list for all of us, because all of that is codependent frequency. But if you don't want to do it, see you later. That's fine. You can you can keep on going. But
fine, nobody's forced to do anything at
yeah,
some point. you are forced because you create a situation where you get the trigger that you need.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be very interesting to see it, and it's actually something so beautiful because we really become these. It's so freeing when everything falls off. And the funny thing is, you should actually be devastated in a situation like this, but so calm.
Yeah.
It's this inner peace of realizing, wow, the old game is over. I don't have to play that anymore. And you know, I'm even at peace if it's over today and I'm not going to wake up tomorrow. That's fine too.
Yeah.
But if there's more people, more kids around, the new kids that we all become, to start playing with each other and sharing what we have, and you know, like the kids on the beach, everyone brings something, and let's just see and play. And you know, there's a shovel and there's a bucket, and I found some shells, and then you just start playing and see what can we do with this. And the more people come together and share and bring what they have, the easier it becomes.
Yeah.
It's actually beautiful, and it's so playful, and we're experiencing the first experiments with that now on the Quest platform of Fast Forward Movement.
I know. I spent some time on it, and
because it's so much
it's a
fun.
lot. Yeah, it's totally different than it was.
Yeah, because we don't try to fix our comfort zone anymore, because our comfort zone is gone.
Yeah, I spent some time on it a couple days. The last time was yesterday, and I almost sent you a note because I was getting confused. But I figured it was actually me. You know, it wasn't when I was looking at it. It was I was not in the state to be looking at it.
Yeah.
So I figured I'll come back to it. But yeah, that's I want to get more into that. I want to get before I start asking questions about it. But yeah, I can see what's happening energetically. I can see what you guys did because you had the one thing, your old one, then you had the new one, and then you totally like blew it up and did it again.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it was not even the same. I was shocked. It was like totally
completely different because it's completely free now from this. Also, the codependency that was still there when we went to Brazil. We were codependent on the people with the land and the money, and they were codependent on our wisdom and what we designed and what we can bring. And it did not feel as one unit doing it together. It still felt two parties. And what happens is when one part is conditional and still looking at it in a conditional way, and the other part is unconditional, what happens is it gets defined as, oh, that's for free. That can't be so valuable.
No.
Because unconditional, of course, it doesn't mean free, but how would you understand unconditional if you're still running on the conditional program? And we really needed to have this hard landing to understand, shit, we were still making ourselves dependent from someone who has resources.
Yeah. It's like, it's the same frequency as a slave owner and a slave.
Yeah.
It really is. You know, one's got all the resources and the other one's got the magic, you know.
Yeah.
The other one's got the physical or mental, whatever.
That's turn around completely. The new currency is creativity, because that's where the value actually is.
Yeah.
Money doesn't have value, it's just paper.
Just create your way out. That's it. I really believe that. And I you know, I thought I put my foot in my mouth this past week, and I said, because we went to a little spiritual gathering at a park that an old friend of mine was putting on. Met some cool people, and so I'm like, oh, we got to have a gathering this weekend. We have some friends coming in from Utah. They're in a van, converted van.
Yeah.
Richie Sauter's down here in a converted van. I mean, there's people and you can see it in the field. And then Morgan's like, well, just go do a live and, you know, do a spirit walk and tell people we're going to do it. I'm like, I don't know where it's going to be. I don't know what day it's going to be. Is it going to be Saturday or Sunday? Now today's Thursday, keep in mind. And so I did. And then I got all these messages from people I never talked to before. Hey, I'm here. I'd like to come. And so I thought I put my foot in my mouth. Now my friend, he just sent me a note. He's booked a place for the following weekend, you know? So they're both within like 80 miles of each other, you know? And I thought, oh my God, Todd, you did it again. You put your foot in your mouth. You don't have any resources. I mean, what are you going to do? But it's happening. It's going down. Tomorrow night, we're going to have a cosmic improv here at
Yeah.
Solterra, where they were kind enough to let us plug in. I don't know. I said, what's a cosmic improv? I don't know. We just pass the mic around and people do and talk about what they want to. I'm like, okay, that's right up my alley, you know. But this is the frequency, the creativity, the spontaneity, you know, the
Yeah.
imagination. It's the frequency. You know that we went to that conference. I'm getting chills. We went to that conference. At the end of the conference, they had like they brought out a couple guitar and drums, and you know, it was inside the meeting room. And you know, I hadn't picked up a guitar in 8 years, and the energy of it. I picked up this lady's guitar and I played it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what? I don't even have calluses anymore. You know,
Yeah.
like I mean, how is this happening? But this is what that energy does. That creative creation
Yeah.
energy, the spontaneity, the imagination. This is actually what it is. You know, I mean, it actually creates more of it. You know, so that's cool.
And it's really just about starting,
Hmm.
not expecting anything. Just let it evolve. You know, you can have an intention, but wow, what we observe already on the platform, it's amazing because there's stuff coming in you would have never imagined.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's so beautiful because everyone brings a puzzle piece.
Yeah.
So it's something you couldn't know before, just the two of us.
Yeah.
But now there's more people bringing in more stuff, and it's like, wow, this is amazing what we can do with this. And this is the new. It's all in the moment without any expected outcome, and just let it flow. The only thing you need is a structure where the flow can flow in, but you don't
Yeah.
need to have an objective or goal anymore.
No, not at all. No. No,
Yeah.
my friend, the one that's next week, and he asked me, he said, well, what do we do? I said, just show up. We got a stage, you got a microphone, you got speaker. This place has cameras, internet, speakers,
Perfect.
mics, you know, and holds about 70 people. And I said, well, we just get up there and take turns, you know, and
Yeah,
just
it's all
who
about,
wants to, yeah, who
all
wants
about
to share?
what you have. Use what you have instead of focused on what you don't have. Really use what you have and be creative.
How can I'd like to be part of something that creates getting you and Augusti over here. So anybody have any ideas out there? Let me know, because my mind's already. I'm feeling better now after we've been talking.
Oh,
I
beautiful.
was so discombobulated. My God, it was
Yeah.
like I was
Yeah.
in.
Crazy times. Crazy times.
I was almost in asshole mode. Morgan
Oh,
probably Morgan probably thought I
well,
was, but
I would have handled you nevertheless.
well, it happened in Walmart though. So I was in Walmart and I don't know what happened. I don't know if that was part of it. I don't know what happened. But now that you told me something happened to you 2-3 hours ago and some other friends of yours, and that makes me, because that's what it felt like. You know, once I got my head together a little bit, I thought, wait a minute,
Yeah.
this feels like some. I just woke up and it just happened to come in at the same. I don't know, but it was pretty hardcore, no
Yeah.
doubt.
Yeah. Was a huge hit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you're going to be on Shanine's show tomorrow, Freedom
Yeah.
Network. If y'all haven't checked out the Freedom Network, you need to check it out. She's doing some yeoman's work. I don't know how
First time that I talked to her.
yeah, I don't know how she's doing it, man. She's like 7 months pregnant. She's got
Amazing.
two or
She's
three other. Yeah, that's just
yeah.
because I know what that takes, man.
Super looking forward to that one too.
Yeah, that'll be a good conversation. I'm going to tune into that. And
Yeah.
yeah, we're setting intentions right now with everybody to get Vera and Augusti over here, so we can expand the Soul Train from one vehicle to two. And
We're ready anytime.
yeah,
As
so
soon as the flow unlocks to get us over there, we're gonna be there.
I think it just did. I just saw it. I think it just did. Yeah. Right on.
Awesome.
You got anything else you want to talk about?
No, I
Okay.
feel we really covered it. All I can say is just be really patient with your bodies right now and carefully listening to
Yeah.
what the body's processing, what it's telling us. By the way, there's a really good platform. I can share the link after the show. It's called Flows and Forms. It's a huge database on physical ailments, physical issues, and what the emotional connection is to that, what you struggle with. So
Okay.
it's for the mind to give you a bit of like direction, what it's related to, and it can also help to release it easier because you're able to relate to it. And you don't
Right.
have to have a personal memory to it. This is all like stuff that is in the whole family lineage that you've been carrying over mother, grandmother, grandfather, and so on. So it's not necessarily that you need to understand what you are releasing because you don't have memory attached to it, like in your own life, but it still helps to understand what kind of emotion is trapped where in the body, and then it's much easier to release it also for the whole lineage, because you're basically the last one in the lineage carrying stuff, and from then on it's going to be clean.
Yeah, that makes sense. Morgan's got a couple of books, reference books that are that way. And
I love the website because it's really it's only related specifically physically and emotionally, like how the emotions are trapped in the body. So that's really helpful.
Yeah.
I'm gonna share that.
Yeah, put that up. Put that up. I'd like to get my hands on that one. No doubt. All right. Love you. We'll see you soon. We'll be hugging very soon.
I'm looking forward to that.
I have a
Bye.
I already have I already have it in my head. I told Morgan, I said, let's place a bet, like over or under bet. I said, I this many days, you know. So yeah. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
Exactly the right moment.
Yeah, we're gonna be able to go through this shit together.
Yeah. No, from now on we're gonna play. No more shit.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. No, and it doesn't feel like that. Even this morning, it's just very hard on the body.
Yeah.
Like I really felt like I was like when I was walking around in Walmart, my head was just like exploding from the inside, and I couldn't see. My vision was blurry, and I almost couldn't walk. You know.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was like, it was just like I didn't feel good.
It's really tough on the body, so take it easy and really listening closely.
Yeah. I got you.
No more compensating.
No.
Coping.
Take care. Love you. See y'all later. Bye-bye.